All right. Konnichiwa, mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And そして、Irulan.
Yep. Bonjour, mon nom est Irulan.
We have all languages going on here today. So, welcome to the Sailor Moon 20th Anniversary Celebration panel. I am honored to be here with so many fellow Sailor Moon fans and, of course, our voice actors, who we are going to introduce in a little bit here. This panel is a little bit of a mix of nostalgia and rumors and video and question answer and a whole bunch of things like that. So I really hope that you enjoy it. And we're going to start things off with a little song here for you. So I hope that you enjoy it. Yeah! Please give a warm round of applause for Irulan. The song that I'm about to perform for you is from one of the Sailor Moon musicals. I believe it was 2004? No, 2003. It's Tuxedo Mask, or Mamoru, singing to Chibi Chibi. And also, I don't have the Queen Barrel part in it, but she's like the phantom of the theater house sort of thing. And it's kind of neat. I love how the musicals are. They're campy, they're great. Yes, These are from my collection. These are what the musicals look like.
Ooh.
$60 a tape. They made them 1993 to 2005, I believe. They did 2 a year. They did a hiatus after 2005, which they're currently still on. So I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm really, really hoping that they bring it back now that the new series is supposed to be coming out. With us today, if you could just stand up, we'll start with Katie Griffin, who is the voice of Sailor Mars. And Susan Roman, who is the voice actress of Sailor Jupiter. She was Sailor Jupiter throughout the Geek dub and the Cloverway dub. I think you're the longest running for the complete.
Respect!
Ron Rubin, who is Artemis, of course. And Ron was also in it for the entirety of the dub as well. Terry Hawks, who was Sailor Moon herself. The second voice actress to play Sailor Moon of the three. I think we started around the Netflix saga over to the end of Sailor Moon R. And the movies and stuff. And then we got another one. Sugar Lynn Beard, of course, who was Sailor Moon. Of course, she was the second one to play her. And Vincent Carrazza, who was Tuxedo Mask. And I think he's the longest. I think, did you guys do any other voices, like little characters on the side and stuff? Do you remember?
No.
I played a villain in one episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it went undocumented because it was just a last minute thing where Nicole, our producer and director, decided that I could kick my own butt.
Okay, let us start with... Oh, okay, I have to do this one first.
Oh no, the sub-band.
Yeah, how many of you have heard of the original, what they were going to do before they made the Sailor Moon? This is the only video that exists of it, as far as we know, on the internet. It was done at a convention before Sailor Moon was even thought about being dubbed into English. This is what we were going to get before they did the anime dub. So yeah, go about there.
Mystery Science Theater presents the Sailor Moon game. Go ahead. Loud noises. Focus! Focus!
Part live action, part animation.
She-Ra! Artists, are you Mr. Bigglesworth? I gotta run out and buy this now.
Sometimes she's a fun-loving 16-year-old girl.
Wait, that just bring us up at that point. He's the only good shot that I've seen so far. Well, hey, at least they got Mars' blade. Why is she
be happy that we did get what we did and move on. I had to show that because it is a part of the Sailor Moon fandom history. Like I said, it's the only video, as far as I know, and a lot of other people know, that exists of that. And from that one showing at the convention, that's probably very telling as to why there's no other video. Okay, we'll move on to the live action series.
Was this on tour in Japan or here?
In Japan. There's a sad story about her. I'll tell you in a little bit. There were 4 actresses to play Sailor Moon over the run of music.
Sailor
many, many, many songs that they have. All right, the last one is from Sailor Stars. This is the last episode. Oh, the sad story. That's right. Thank you. The girl that was playing the Sailor Moon in that one. Her name is. Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
No, this was Marina Kuroki.
No, Marina is fine, but she's still alive.
Yeah, I know, but...
No, that was what's her name? Miyuki, yeah. Miyuki was in the Dracula.
This is not Miyuki Kanbei, this is Marina Kuroki.
Are you sure? Because I thought Miyuki
Yes,
did all the Draculas.
I was in Japan.
Okay.
For that musical.
One of the
Sad story,
Dracula
keep going.
Yeah, the one from the Dracula musicals. Miyuki, she had a heart problem, and she passed away at the age of 21, just after leaving the musicals, so that was very sad. The first Sailor Moon actress for the musicals went from 1993 to 1998, Oyama Anza. She is now in a heavy metal band. It's called Headphones President. Then there was Fumina Hara, she was the second one, and then Kanbei Miyuki, and then Marina Kuroki. She played Sailor Moon up until the end of 2005. So if you ever get the chance to look at the musicals, they have them on YouTube. You can buy them sometimes online, but they are very expensive. So just to let you know. Okay, also there's a tie-in between the musicals and the live action. Does anybody know what it is? Okay. The actress who played Sailor Mercury towards the end of the Dracula musicals and into Sailor Moon R musicals also played Naru-chan in the live action series. So kind of a little
Molly.
So this will be a spoiler for some of the rest of you, so I apologize. This is the very last battle from the very last episode in Sailor Moon. Like I said, there is a little bit of nudity, so I see a lot of it.
そしてとても優しい人。
I'm going to finish my part here, and I'm going to invite our voice actors to come up on stage here. We're going to do a moderated question and answer period, so we're going to try to get to as many people as possible. So, if you guys would like to come up on stage here. We have Katie Griffin of Sailor Mars.
Check. It's just a pretend one. Oh, it's just pretend. Why? Why do I have a pretend one?
Blue mic. There we go.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
And then we have Susan Roman, Sailor Jupiter.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. It's so good to see you all.
And Carrie Hawes, Sailor
What
Moon.
incredible enthusiasm in this room. Thank you so much. And everybody who dressed up. I love seeing all the costumes. It's great to have you here. Thanks for coming.
And Robert. Oh, perfect.
Hi everybody, this is awesome. Thanks for coming. It was so cool to see some of the history up here, and I hadn't seen a lot of that before, and the live series was really cool, the effects and no, really, and all the costumes, and then Artemis shows up like on a stick. Thanks for everyone for coming out. This has been really great for your support. Thank you.
Hi guys! Together. This is so exciting, and that really, Jeremy, that was just such a great presentation. And I just want to see everything that there is to see now.
YTV!
Most of you probably do remember her from The Zone on YTV, so yes. And of course, Vincent Ferrazza.
Hi folks, thanks for coming out. This is amazing. It's kind of overwhelming. It's great to be back with all of us too after so many years and get to see all the faces again. And I was blown away by some of the footage. The musical was amazing. Although it felt like the whole musical was just introducing the Sailor Scouts.
Yeah.
That's long.
Well, most of the musicals are 3 hours long.
Yep.
So this was just one song.
Wow. She's over there.
Well, thank you guys all for coming out, and your support has been incredible, and I can't wait to talk to all of you and see you guys around. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Poonam, and I really love Sailor Moon because my name meant the Moon Princess, really, literally. So my question for you is...
Excuse me, can we just can't see where you are.
Oh, you're back there? Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So my question for you is, what did you like the most about doing voicing for this anime? Anybody?
The thing that I like the most about having done this series and being associated with this series, in addition to the great people that I had the opportunity to work with, is that the series is meaningful to me, and I hope to some others, because I think it gave girls a voice. I think it was one of the gateway series that allowed girls to have a superhero, a female heroine who could fight the Negavers, who could speak up, who could be empowered. And traditionally, most of those kinds of roles have been given to boys or men. So it was one of the first ones where there was a female heroine who little girls could look up to and could feel inspired by, and somebody who set out to fight the Negavers and who dealt with her own foibles and her own imperfections, and who was able to form close relationships with other girlfriends, and together in unison they could really do something that made a difference in the world. And I hope that message was relayed through the scripts and the directing and the acting and the producing. And that's why this experience has been meaningful to me.
If you guys had to voice another character, what would be a different character that you would want to voice on the show?
Oh, on the show?
Yeah, on the show.
Oh,
like
great question. We all wanted to do Sailor Moon. I didn't. I like Sailor Mars. No, I'm making a joke. But first of all, when the auditions first took place, of course, the only part that we were reading for was Sailor Moon. So half of Toronto was there.
Does that include the guys too?
Times weren't quite as open as they are today, Jeremy. You could have been there today, but in those, then everybody thought, well, she should be, obviously very spunky and have a really nice sort of personality in her voice, etc., to match the visual of Sailor Moon. So we all really, really wanted to be Sailor Moon because this was, as Terry said, this was a really unusual situation. This girl was the hero, and none of the women had ever seen anything. We were all girls too. We hadn't seen anything like this, so we really desperately wanted to be Sailor Moon. And then when we got the calls from our agents, their agents would say, well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. What's the good news? Well, the bad news is you didn't get Sailor Moon. And so we all, well, now I'll pass it over to Katie because apparently she didn't want to be Sailor Moon.
I was fine with Sailor Mars. I thought Sailor Mars rocked, but it was the same, but we were the same agency. So we all auditioned for Sailor Moon. But as Sailor Mars was my very first voice job, really. So she is very special. But beyond all that, I wanted to be a bad guy. And I don't know how you got that, Vince, but I wanted to be,
I spoke up.
Yeah. I wouldn't let me play a bad guy ever, so.
I threatened to walk off.
Right. But yeah, the bad guys were awesome. So, I mean, the good guys were better, but I'm just, anyway, I'll just pass it along.
Here we go.
Ron?
Doing it would have been fun.
Go ahead.
I was pretty happy with Artemis. I'm not sure who else I auditioned for. I did a lot of different characters throughout the series, but a lot of them were just one-offs, just kind of, shopkeepers and store owners and a few bad guys. But Artemis started kind of as a very low-key voice. I'm being a little redundant from yesterday's session, but there's a show called Moonlighting with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd at the time, and they wanted that Bruce Willis really cool, low voice. Hey Luna, how you doing? And it was just kind of really low. And then after a while, it kind of got a little more hyper and everything like that. But they kind of just allowed me to use my voice and kind of play with it. And I don't remember. I don't think I auditioned for Tuxedo Mask or a few other ones, but that would have been cool to play. So that might have been my other one. We could have switched.
I actually never auditioned for Tuxedo Mask.
You didn't even audition?
No, I never auditioned because I had done Alan, and then when they decided they wanted to replace, they just it was Roland Parliament, and I even remember Roland.
Yes,
started it, and then they just called and they were like, "Would you want to do it?" Absolutely.
After, played it before.
It was Reno Romano. Reno did the first 11, then Toby Proctor did. I can't remember how many he did, and then I came in after that. Yeah, for me. Being in the minority in the show for male characters, I actually love that. I thought that was very cool because growing up, it was like you guys were saying, it was always male-based superheroes, and most shows were dominated by male characters, especially in superheroes. And I thought it was incredible that this show, not just a single female, but multiple characters. Three-dimensional. They had, they were dealing with regular lives and then becoming superheroes and trying to save the world. And I found it really an amazing show. And what it's done, how it changed the genre. And I was so impressed because I think ultimately the hardest thing is to always change the mind of producers in Hollywood and the money. And it was the first time that I think Hollywood and North America realized you could make a lot of money by creating superheroes from women. And I think that was a huge influence. And now, look at today, 15 years later, 20 years later, that was impressive. For me, I don't know what other character I want to play in the show. I suppose I could maybe want to Sailor Moon.
That sounded a little more like Mrs. Doubtfire. I loved playing Reedy. She's just, I mean, to me, she really stood out. She's, you know, the younger voice and that younger energy was so fun to play, and getting into, you know, all of her adorable little mischievous ways was always so fun for me. But I think that if I could play another character, it would probably be Tuxedo Mask. I think that I could have rocked that character. And if they were auditioning, you might not have the part.
Yeah.
It might have been me.
So, Sugar,
You never know.
how would you have voiced him? Can you give us an example?
I would have made him like real low. Like, hey Serena. You gonna make me some cookies? I just wanted to add something, a little segue to that question, but I wanted to give a shout out to two other fine actors who shared the role of Sailor Moon, Tracy Moore and Linda Valentine. So my story is a little bit different than yours because I wasn't one of those Toronto actors who originally auditioned for Sailor Moon. I think I must have been in LA or something. But when I was back in Toronto, I got a call from my agent one day. Tracy Moore had started the series. I think she did maybe 6 episodes. And there were some artistic differences there, so they were looking for somebody to take on the role of Sailor Moon, and I got a last-minute call. So I went in and auditioned. And normally when you audition for something, you have a few weeks' notice, you know you're going to be working on it in the near future, you sort of plan your life. I went in about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they said, great, you have the part, can you start tonight? And, yeah, so I think I started it, Ron was saying, or Sugarland was saying, we did some midnight sessions. It was a crazy schedule. So that's how I started. It was fast and furious and a lot of fun. And I enjoyed it thoroughly for many episodes and I think 3 movies. And then I became pregnant with my 2 amazing children who are sitting in the back there. And kids, I saw you walk in, where are you? And since I was pregnant with twins, and it's a very physical show, I'm sure the others can attest. So with voice acting, sometimes you stand for the mic and you take on the physical movements of the characters, and so if they're running and jumping and leaping and screaming, you're kind of doing the same things to simulate, so your breathing is similar to the characters and that kind of thing. Sorry, so for me, at any rate, the best choice, the healthiest choice for me was not to continue this series at that time in my life. So Linda Valentine kindly took it over, and I give her lots of credit because it's really hard to take over from somebody midstream, and she had to sort of emulate my voice as much as she could and make it her own at the same time. And so I just give her a lot of credit for that. I'm very grateful she took that on, and I just wanted to give them a little shout out.
That's something that a lot of people don't understand. Well, you as fans of anime and cartoons and animation, you experience and accept it, it seems to me, which is just so amazing that you do it so gracefully, the changes that occur during the course of the series. And so what they're always trying to do, obviously, is make it as seamless as possible so that they get somebody who sounds very, very similar to the person who originally played it. So if I had to go in and fill Terry's shoes, I would have been quivering because she did it so well. She personified, she just was Sailor Moon perfectly. We all know that. I mean, it was just utter perfection. So for an actress to come in and not only have to sound like Terry, but as she said, make it her own, is doubly difficult because you don't know, as you're standing there reading the line, you don't know, do I concentrate more on sounding like her, or do I concentrate more on performing? Do you see my point? It's a really hard road to walk. So I just wanted to point that out, that anytime you see somebody replacing someone else, give them a lot of slack, because it takes a lot of guts.
It wasn't like any of you were expected to be like macho characters. Was there a certain class that we had to give to the characters?
If that was the case, then they chose the wrong guy. He was asking if we were
being in the minority for male characters, if we had to bring class to
yeah, as opposed to being like macho and tough. expected to be like?
I think that was, sorry, are you saying as opposed to being macho and tough and sort of the traditional kind of version of like a...
Like speaking in a very clean, clear tone, as opposed to being like very rough.
Yeah, I was never directed one way or the other, but as Vince touched on before, it was interesting because all the other, I had done a lot of animation up until then, and it was male dominated, and this was the first series I had been in that it was female dominated, and Artemis and maybe Tuxedo Mask, we were kind of a little outside of the group of sailors.
Yeah, I felt that.
And I was never specifically directed one way or the other, but it was almost inherent in the part that we just, Artemis was just kind of his own.
Yeah, I think that, I was just going to say, I was just quickly reflecting on what you're saying. I think it was also very influenced on the way the show was written, created. The Japanese translation, we would sometimes see some of the original, so we'd have a sense of scenes, and so it felt like that. And I think also because Darian, they were teenagers, they were kids too. There's less of a sense of you haven't fully developed into your male voice at that point. So so I think that influenced it as well, as far as the interpretation vocally was less about being, Superman or, something deeper. But I think that was mostly influenced by the creation of the show and the way the character was written. I don't remember ever being told to try and do that. I do remember when we got into the King stuff and the Moonlight Night, and sometimes the way they wanted me to adjust my voice, and when I played those characters. Just because there was an air of royalty, there was an air, so sometimes we were making small tweaks with things like that, but never like being required to try and class it up.
Would you guys be interested in ever dubbing a live action? In particular for Ron, would you ever be interested in dubbing a cat on a stick?
He's also CGI sometimes too. So.
Oh, I've sunk lower than dubbing a cat on a stick. I would dub Artemis in whatever form possible. What was the first part of the question again?
Would we be interested in dubbing the live action?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sign me up right now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in.
There you go.
So I think the question to you guys is, how do we make that happen?
Kickstarter! Please.
We've got another one over here. Down here. Yep.
Hi, it's great seeing 5 of you guys again.
This woman is an amazing artist.
Yeah, you have to see some of this. She gave us all drawings of our characters.
You're actually going to make me turn as red as Katie's shirt. I don't think that's actually physically possible for me to do. My question actually for each of you guys, since playing the characters, is there a particular characteristic of each of your characters that you think is inherently like within your own nature as you figured it out?
That's a great question.
Oh, I've got the mic. Okay.
What's this thing growing?
What's this thing? That's the real mic. Wait a minute. Oh, what's this? Yes, Serena, imperfect, klutzy, forgetful, insecure at times, and yet she has this inner strength. And I think through the series she acquires a greater sense of herself, her self-esteem, her own power. And I'd like to think that as I accumulate years on this great earth, that I start to know myself a little bit better and feel that I have something to contribute as well. So yeah, I relate to the imperfections and the growth.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm a good cook, but it would be false. But what I totally relate to, and I know when I listen to my voice and when I think of who I am, I know exactly why I didn't get cast as Sailor Moon. It's outrageous! Because I actually am very, very close to Sailor Jupiter in how red I am. Oh my God. And I actually am very, very close to Sailor Jupiter I think that I am feisty, and I'll fight for what I believe in, and I especially will fight if I see somebody who's getting an unfair deal in some form of their life, and I can stand up and say, hey, yo! Then I'll do it. But I'll do it much more for someone else than I'll do it for myself. But I'm working on it, and you know, $110 an hour, I'll have it figured out in 5 years. I think they were smart when they cast us. I think there were certain elements of us in all those characters, and so we could just sort of fast track it to the front.
Yeah, I'm very close to Sailor Mars. I'm very serious and stubborn, but I'm very loyal. And I think Sailor Mars gets a bad rap because I think, you know, I was actually shocked. This is my first convention, and I get a lot of, but she's such a bitch. And I'm absolutely floored because I thought she's very strong, but I never thought of Sailor Mars as a bitch. I just thought, no, she's just serious. She's got to get down to business. Yes, and so I feel like, and she's very loyal. So, there are a lot of, I definitely relate to Sailor Mars, but she's not a bitch. She's just.
Ron? Yeah, Artemis, I think as voice actors, every time we get a part, you try to make it your own, and hopefully that's why they hire you. And I think it took me, you know, a dozen, 2 dozen episodes to kind of get a feel for it, and then you start imparting part of you. And back then I was a little cocky, a little on my own, a little whatever, so that came out hopefully in Artemis, and I relate to his character very much, and that kind of was, that was me, and I think Artemis is, has a whole bunch of different parts of me.
Yeah. We are one and the same. I always insist on getting what I want, and do. Just kidding. No, she, you know, Rini is so full of heart and full of hope, and she's just, that young, amazing spirit in her is something that I absolutely carry with me everywhere I go. And yeah, I actually think about her often. Like if I'm in a situation and I'm feeling like an adult and like feeling like, oh, I gotta pay a bill, I'm like, you know what, Rini would probably just eat a cookie. and I go with the cookie, and it's great. So yes, I feel like there's so much of her that I carry with me.
You kind of stole my answer at the top, and you just went, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tuxedo Mask, so many levels to him. The tortured soul, you know, his history, like the past. Not that I feel like I am a tortured soul. You know, the parents, you know, like all the backstory for him. But I didn't really have that in my life. I just think that I do that to myself all the time. And I think to a certain extent, it just, you know, whenever you create a character or voice a character, you bring out parts of yourself just naturally. You try to immediately, as soon as you see scripts and stuff, you immediately go to, well, how does that relate to your life? So in every single scene, in every single episode, that's pretty much what I was always trying to do, was find my story in that story so that I could bring out the reality to it. So I always felt that as I was portraying them, but I mean, in general, yes, I feel like a superhero.
All right, I just wanted to throw something really quick out there, if you guys are comfortable with it. Can you say just something quick in the character voice? If you can, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you can. If not,
Mars, fire, ignite!
Jupiter, thunderclap, crash!
Moon, healing, activation!
Pink sugar heart attack!
Scouts to save. Let's hurry!
I always wanted an attack.
Smoking bomb!
He does have an attack in the manga, but they don't ever.
Yeah, in the manga, but never in the anime. I always remember saying, "Hey, meatball head." That was pretty much, I felt like my staple is Jerry.
Okay, Adelan, we have someone over there.
Hello. I'm just wondering if do you have any favorite catchphrase or battle cry that you'd like to say as your character?
Mine is definitely pink sugar heart attack. Because I give those all the time now. As sugar, there are people around the world that are suffering from the pink sugar heart attack. I mean that in a really cool, fun way.
That's actually an interesting question for voice work as a whole, to have like a little signature laugh or a thing that gets you into character. And I think most of us do that. I certainly do. If I have a character to play, it might be a giggle or a chuckle or a laugh, and that gets me right into character. With Artemis, it was what I just said. Lighten up, Luna. Because I said that in the first series, and every time I say that, I get right into character. So for me, it's usually a laugh or whatever. For Artemis, it was just that line.
The one I said, Moon Healing Activation, is one of my favorites because I think Sailor Moon tries to heal in her own way. But then I just think of her alter ego as Serena, and the line I like with Serena is something that just reminds me that she's just not perfect. She's not always a superhero. So something like, I'm gonna be late for school!
I guess mine would be, well, he really reminds me of my boyfriend. Well, somebody pointed out yesterday she's had so many boyfriends, I don't know. He really reminds me of one of my boyfriends.
That's funny. I don't know a specific one. I guess Mars, Fire, Ignite, but I do remember being stuck on Mars, Celestial, Fire, Surround, because we couldn't come up with the translation. So I remember it, we went through a whole bunch of them before we got there. So every time we had to get to that, it just seemed like so many words. Nobody else was Mars, Celestial, Fire, and it just kept going, and I thought, this is very odd. Why are we? But anyway, that was, I know.
It's not that odd considering later on, it's like Sailor Moon's phrases get longer, like Starlight, Honeymoon, Therapy, Kiss.
Yeah. It's all relative.
It's like you're being attacked before you can finish. Like, I gotta get this finished, because
I was just wondering if there was an episode ever for Sailor Moon that got released where your characters somehow got gender swapped. Who would voice your character for that episode and why?
That's a good one.
I think it would have to be Vincent because he always wanted a battle cry.
Vincent, I think you should do the battle cry.
Yeah, can you do the Moon Healing Activation?
But wait a minute, what kind of voice style would you... Do I do it as a man, or do I do it as Sailor Moon? I lost the part. They recast. Moon Prism Power!
Do you ever miss voicing those characters?
I miss it every single day of my, no, you know what I do miss? I miss being with all these guys and all these, my fellow actors, and it's so nice to see them all again, because that's one of the best parts about doing voice work, is that you do get some nice connections going with other actors, and it's been, I mean, we started doing this 20 years ago, and we're still all talking with one another, which I assure you is not, necessarily always the case. So yeah, I miss it. I do miss it.
I definitely miss it, just because, like I said, she was my very first voice ever. So everything I do, it's always, you know, she started me in this industry. And yeah, I absolutely miss it, and I miss everybody as well. I feel like, you know, we were a team.
Yes. We are a team.
They've said it beautifully. Same sentiments.
Same, and actually, she was my first character too. First voice job that I ever had as well. So I have the very same feelings as Katie, and I mean, it was just such a fun process. And you know, doing Rhythmo Band, the way that we recorded it, there's just nothing like that anymore. And it was kind of, it was an interesting skill to hone, and to be in that booth and just, you know, just sit with Rini for 3 hours and get to be hers. It was just such a precious time, and I do miss it.
This is so cool because every time you do a cartoon series, you get very close to the cast, and if it's an ensemble cast, you see them every week for, you know, a season and maybe picked up the next season, and a lot of cartoons aren't picked up. With Sailor Moon, we started this so long ago, and we did a few years of it, and here we are today, and we've gotten together for some other conventions, and we're all still really good friends, and I can't think of another series, and we've all done a lot, that has the longevity of this. And I still see Susie and Katie a lot. You went away to LA, and you're in LA, and you went away, and now you're back, and it's the first time we've been together in a long time, but I can't think of another series that's had the longevity and the closeness of this one.
Something that Sugarman said yesterday, which I thought was so important, you were acknowledging the audience and their part in that, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and your interest in the show and your knowledge. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I would echo the same things. For me, I miss it a lot too, because I don't live in Toronto anymore, and I don't get back very often, and I kind of I miss you guys a lot. I miss the Toronto people and the Toronto actors. And no, I really do. I mean, the actors, it's a different feeling in LA. LA is a very spread out city. It's you kind of go off in your own pockets. And in Toronto, we got to see each other like almost daily, some of us at the agency, you know. And this was my first ever ongoing series like that went this long with, you know, so many episodes and so much time put in. And so yeah, it just, you know, I felt like we were comrades, you know, and in the show, as friends too. So I miss that a lot, all the time.
And my question is there any point in the series or episodes that you found particularly hard to act or film?
I'll start just quickly by saying, because of the Rhythmo Band, which was awesome, which was amazing. I actually missed that too. I love that skill. I felt the hardest thing about it was, you know, just having to try to bring character, my interpretation stuff, when a lot of times we didn't get the stuff beforehand and we were just reading off the Rhythmo Band. So that was, I never felt that there was any single particular thing, like episode or scene that was hard. It was just trying to always infuse my personality, the choices, while at the same time just trying to get everything perfect so it would match, and you know, there were so many things that you were doing at once with the Rhythmo Band, and so that was always a challenge. It was a workout. Like, you know, we would finish like a 4-hour session, and sometimes I'd be soaking wet, sweating, you know, like just from work, like a workout.
Do you guys remember an episode when Rini was a teenager? Yeah, that one was a little bit tricky because I had only, you know, I knew her and identified her as a little girl, and I, you know, was putting on a smaller voice, and so trying to decide who she was as a teenager was an interesting day. I love how it turned out, but yeah, that was definitely a challenge.
Another thing that is interesting, and none of us has brought it up yet, is about the Rhythmo Band. So when the animation was done in Japan, and the mouth movements were different than North American mouth movements in that there are very few movements of the mouth that form a perfect O. So if the script says, oh, and the mouth is going, oh, it's going to be, you see what I'm saying? It's a completely different sound. So very often you do a really great take and you look back at it and right in the middle of the take you had said, oh, and the character's mouth definitely didn't support that sound. So you have to go back and redo it and change the sound to, instead of saying, oh, you would say, ooh. So that's why you get more, I think actually that's what kind of made it sound unique. So, because we couldn't make those round O sounds, those North American sounds, so a lot of times we had to just pull the sound into the back of our mouth. Well, Terry did that a lot. The sound is produced more inside of her mouth without an actual definite shape at the front. And that's because we're trying to disguise the fact that the animation doesn't support the way it was really originally written in English. Are you following me? Yeah. So I think it actually enhanced the show in the end of all. Because remember, there are no problems, only opportunities.
Did you guys want to elaborate?
I just want to, I'm glad Susan touched on that because we're talking about rhythmoband and dubbing, but when we dub in from another language, yeah, we're reading the written word going across the screen and somebody has painstakingly written it out almost phonetically, and so it matches the mouth movements. I touched on this yesterday. When you do a cartoon that's not dubbed, you do an original cartoon, you lay the voice track down first, and then the animators draw to your voice. So you have a lot more freedom when it comes to movement and creativity, and because they draw to you. With this, you're kind of stuck with, as Susan said, the mouth movements. So by reading it, your performance, to be perfectly honest, is a little bit handicapped because you have to adhere to what's there, but it takes a lot more concentration to get there. But a lot of times you're not kind of able to you have to stay within the lines that, within the parameters that are written there. So you're trying to act your best as well as pronunciate properly. So it's a whole different way of dubbing, but it's a talent.
Throughout the show, was there ever a line where you just looked at it and you couldn't help but laugh at just how silly the line was?
Where do we start?
Seriously, there were so many. I can't think of one specifically. Do you guys have one?
I don't remember a specific line, but I just remember always having to come in like at the end of an episode or something and like throw a rose and then speak gigantic, long soliloquies, or sometimes they weren't even that long, but I would just be like, I didn't even understand. I would go, does that even make sense?
It doesn't even really make sense in the Japanese version.
Yeah, I would like say it, and like, as we've said many times before, that we would read it. Sometimes it's the first time I'm seeing it as I'm saying it. So you're trying to create the emotion, create the character as you're saying it, and you'd be like, what is happening here? It was just, I'd finish the episode, I'd be like, I'm confused. And Nicole would be like, it's perfect, and I'd be like, yeah, really? Okay, great, awesome.
And I'd be really concerned when I saw a script that, because for every open mouth movement there has to be a vocal sound, and Artemis a lot of times, like through the whole scene, his mouth was open, and the rhythmoband would just be, and it would just go on forever, and you really wouldn't be able to speak for days after that.
You just reminded me of something that wasn't scripted, but it was drawn, and that was that Serena ate a lot. So she's always nibbling and munching, right? So I come from the school that tries to be as realistic as possible, I think, as most of us do. And so I would bring little snacks into the sound booth and graham wafers and stuff like that. And I thought if I really kind of ate them while I was talking, it would really affect my vocal quality, and I could actually do a little drink at the same time. But inevitably, I would leave the studio in a little trail of cookie crumbs after me, and breadcrumbs. On the little stand, I would just leave little bits of food for the next person to come in. That was rather silly.
So that's who it was.
If there was a crossover with Sailor Moon with another anime, which anime would it be, and what would be a basic plot line, like not anything complicated, but basic summary of a plot line.
Have you guys done a lot of animation? Sailor Moon's primarily the...
Maybe this is Jeremy's question.
I don't know. Well, so what if they change the question just a little bit with another series that they've done before? Because I think that they've only really done mostly the Sailor Moon stuff like that, but maybe if we can make it that way.
We did.
Well, do you mean, because I do some voices on Bakugan and Beyblade. You mean that kind of stuff, like Beyblade versus, because I'd love to see Julie versus Sailor Mars. That would be awesome. Sailor Mars would kick her ass, but Julie would be really funny to watch as she's running away from Sailor Mars kicking her ass.
I don't know.
I'd like to see Ming Ming and Rini try to do a duet. See what would happen there. That would be interesting. Ming Ming from Beyblade, if you know her.
That would be a fun contest sometime, Jeremy, with people who know more about anime than I do. I'll speak for myself.
Okay. Well, what about like Serena versus Princess Cece or something like that?
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, they're pretty powerful in their own way. Boy, you do your homework.
Impressive.
Okay, did you guys want to say anything? No?
We're good.
You're good? Okay.
Thank you. When we were growing up more in the 80s and the different voice actors, how do you feel that how the storylines from then and even Sailor Moon to, let's say, currently, do you feel that anime has, I want to say, changed a lot compared to when you guys had more serious storylines and to compare using the Bakugans and the other stuff that is out right now? Do you feel that there is a gap or a loss of touch because you guys had such a personal touch with these characters in comparison to whatever is being produced today?
Can I answer that more in animation terms as opposed to anime terms?
That's fine.
Because when I started in the early 80s doing animation, a lot of the cartoons were, you know, Wild and Wacky and Hanna-Barbera, and my first couple of cartoons were Beetlejuice, and the voices were crazy and over the top, and then a lot of DC, Marvel Comics, and X-Men, and Avengers, and Silver Surfer, and they were more kind of, the voices were more dramatic and real, and I think there's been changes in anime too. I think animation, there's the goofy and the over-the-top, and then there's the more kind of serious, darker superhero stuff, animation-wise. Anime-wise? Susan, do you want to take that?
Well, what really comes to mind first off is when you're thinking about the good old days versus what's happening now. One of the things that's important is to remember what Ron was saying before about whether or not a piece of animation is dubbed or if it's done from the original. So most of us, well, because I had done stuff before Sailor Moon, quite a bit of animation, and most of that animation was done before it was dubbed. So sometimes certain lines we would do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 takes on one little line. So both Ron and I did Care Bears, for example, you know, Chad, okay, sports fans, you know, that sort of little voice.
And Terry did too, I think, right?
And, sorry?
Terry did as well.
I think we were all Care Bears.
Oh yeah, we were.
Who were you?
I think Jeremy was a Care Bear too, actually. I know, I saw. So there was a lot of time spent on the character, on getting the sound right, on getting it very nice and clear so that everybody could, I mean, that was the whole thing in animation, was that you had to be in character, but you had to be crystal clear so that you could be understood, so that the animators could animate you properly. And in those days, a lot of the animators were actually here in Canada. So as time goes by, it starts to get done a little more quickly. I also did a cartoon for Nelvana quite a few years ago, quite a few for Nelvana, called Tintin, which was so that was an amazing amount of fun. But I spent a lot of hours in the studio barking. I mean, it was a lot of work. And so I think what's happened now is that a lot of projects, with all due respect, are perhaps done a bit more quickly, without as much to detail as it was in the olden days. So I think that you're going to get, you're going to watch a product that is has got a little more heart in it because the time was spent on it. Whereas now it's, you know, time's money, let's go, 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 let's get these. Well, you have been doing some dubbing and back again in Beyblade. I have done some of that, and don't ask me what part I played. I keep forgetting his name. I go in and I go, all I know is the one with the pearls. Yes, okay.
Actually,
sorry,
can I censure? Just very quickly, yeah, I've done back again on Beyblade, and all the male parts in a lot of those are very kind of rough and tumble and aggressive and action-oriented, and so Sailor Moon is such a departure from all of that. It's the first series for Tuxedo Mask and especially Artemis, who's kind of laid back and cool. All the other anime, I've done about half a dozen other anime series, and they're all very aggressive and superhero and you know, kill violence, and Sailor Moon is so different from that for me, so it's nice.
Can I just add, and I'm not an expert on anime, but I've given a lot of thought to Sailor Moon. Why are there conventions like this? Why is there such a fan base for Sailor Moon, for anime? And and I'm sure you have more ideas than I do because you're more educated as to what's going on in these plots, but they're so complex, they're so layered. The writers and the director, I think, spent such time figuring out the messages they're going to portray, the symbolism, I think the messages that we relate to as actors and you as the audience, that they're messages of hope and survival, and as Susan was saying earlier, and fighting for what's right and just. And those are very powerful messages. And so I think that we owe the writers a great debt in terms of their contribution to this series and why it's affected all of us profoundly.
Exactly. And just one quick last thing to say, to add to that. If you go to any of the characters for Sailor Moon, there's such a huge backstory. They've got what zodiac sign they are, what their favorite food is, and there's such a huge backstory that if you go to like Hikaru on Beyblade right now, I don't really know where I came from. I mean, there's a tiny bit of a backstory and there's a mother thing, but you never know, so you're sort of making it up yourself and making that decision. But Sailor Moon, I mean, we all had a huge backstory that you go on there, and her personality has been set since she was born, and it's awesome. It's really awesome.
Okay, well that pretty much brings us to the end of the panel. I know it's that time flies, a 2-hour panel. But I was going to ask if you have any upcoming projects or something that you'd like to give a quick little talk about. Any upcoming projects or something? You can say something just so that everybody knows what you're up to these days. So.
All right, well I'll start. Sailor Moon. I'm all Sailor Moon right now. But I also do a series called Totally Spies. So Alex, we just completed season 6, so look out for it because it's gonna air soon.
I actually just finished doing a pilot, which unfortunately I'm hearing from Vince. Vince and I actually did this together. It was called Spyverbia. It would have been really, really fantastic, and unfortunately...
Created by Steven D'Souza, too.
Created by Steven, Souza.
Yes.
Souza? Okay. Yeah. Terminator, yes? Anyway, so that's a little disappointing, but, you know, tomorrow's another day. And something's gonna happen, I know.
To Mysterious Island, we're doing that coming up. I created and wrote my own cartoon series, which we just optioned, so more on that hopefully in the near future, and yeah, a few other cartoons I'm doing, Scared Squirrel, Monster Mascot, a few other things, and so thanks for all your support.
You probably need a voice or two.
Yeah,
You're
hired. You're
Great!
hired.
Guys, I just got a job. Animation-wise, I'm just starting in Crackit in the States. I went in on a show just this week at Disney, which is always exciting to go to Disney. For me, it's a very exciting thing to do. Called Thunderbeards, and that's going well, so hopefully that happens. I have a movie coming out. It's rated R, it's comedy. So do not go if you're not allowed. And if you watched me on YTV, it's going to be a bit of a shocker. It's called For a Good Time Call. And yeah. And yeah. I think that it comes out here in Canada on September 7th. So look out for that. And then I just did some videos where I play a 57-year-old truck driver, which was really great. She sounds like this. I love poutine. So that'll be on your computer screens in no time. And then I myself am putting together a pitch package. I just recorded 5 episodes of a show that I wrote called Homeless Harriet. And I'm most proud of that. So that hopefully will be on a network near you soon.
I just completed a new graphic novel that we voiced the characters for. It's called Anomaly, created by Brian Haberlin, who did Witchblade and Area 51. Nice. It's pretty cool. It's pretty groundbreaking, pretty mind-blowing. Skip Brittenham, who is a co-writer, creator. It'll be unveiled at New York Comic Con. It's a giant coffee table-sized graphic novel, like about 2 feet by 3 feet or something like that. It's huge. And it uses this groundbreaking technology called augmented reality, where your computer, your iPad, your phone interacts with the book. So you feel like you're in the actual movie Minority Report, where things are happening in front of you that you can't believe you're seeing. When they showed us the demos of it at the recording session, I think my jaw was on the floor the whole time. I play the lead character, John, so that's coming out. And it's mind-blowing. I think you can go to a website called Experience Anomaly or Anomaly Experience. I forget if it's those 2 words, and one's either first or one's either second. And you can watch a video. It's pretty unbelievable. I just finished the new Assassin's Creed video game. I'm not actually allowed to say what I did in it yet, but I'm allowed to say that I did it. I think that comes out at the end of this month. Kingdom Hearts series, we just Zexian, and unfortunately, yes, by Burmia, it was a great show, brilliantly written. I think they're still trying to shop that, so hopefully that'll come out. I created a show called Teen Jesus, but it's a little R-rated as well, a show, and we shopped it around. We had a lot. Fox was interested in it, but nobody wants to touch anything religious-based, especially if it's comical. But I was kind of proud of that because I thought it was very modern sort of version of that, and got a whole bunch of video games and minor characters and things like that I do as well. So, but I would check out Anomaly because it's pretty amazing. I'm blown away by that.
All right. Well, let's give a big round of applause for